Oh man, he was such a character. Um, he was just a remarkable guy. He was a really, really gifted musician. Um, but he was also in his world. He was a king. It's the only way I could describe it is like his world, Lafayette, Louisiana, or Maurice, Louisiana, where he was. He was the king of his world, and I guess in a weird way, like kind of role as the same guy. Like that, they both have effectively kingdoms that they rule, and they have subjects. Sometimes it's their band, sometimes it's just the people around them. But Buck was really, he was a very regal character. He had the air of a king. Like you know, it was just an amazing experience to be around him. He was very, very, very open and friendly, but he was really, really country. Like he was really like not sophisticated in a certain sense. I mean, extremely sophisticated as a musician, but the thing I kind of had to figure out with him was like number one, he had to learn to trust me, which I think he did. Obviously, we did a couple records together. Like he had to learn. I just wasn't some, I didn't come with an agenda. My agenda was to make the best possible Buckwheat Zydeco record we could. Um, and it meant a lot to me that he would trust me. I mean, that was a big moment for me. That I know he had suspicions. His manager could tell him all day long what a cool guy I was, but Buck was not going to have that. He had to kind of learn to trust me innately and completely, because when you're making a record, if you have suspicions about your producer, it's generally not going to go well. That's never worked in my experience. And I've been on both sides. I've been both the untrustor and the untrustee, so I know exactly what it feels like from both angles. But he was just I don't know, he was just a remarkable guy. He took me to some of the most amazing places down around Lafayette. Like when we were working on the record, he would take me to these clubs in his area that not a whole lot of folks that have my skin pigmentation ever go to. And it was like literally like going into a different world. It was like I had never, ever, never before, since ever seen anything like the clubs down there. It was just an amazing experience. And again, he was full on royalty. He walked in the door, everything stopped to welcome the king. And it was just an amazing experience. Um, but the records were fun. He was open to a lot of interesting ideas. Like we did a Captain Beefheart song. I mean, give me a break. I mean, how many, a guy like Buck doing Captain Beefheart song, that's pretty cool. But it just shows you how open his mind was. Like he just wanted great songs. He knew that I wasn't going to let him down. He knew that I wasn't going to make him sound crappy. It was going to sound great. As a manager, a guy named Ted Fox was integral in that process. Ted was always, had my back, and he was always, really, really, helped Buck. Some of these things. Like I remember the first time we played. What record was it? So this was the second record I did with him, and we wanted to do. This was around Katrina, and we wanted to do When the Levee Breaks. The Zepp song. And it was the first day of rehearsals, and we recorded that record at a studio called the Dockside, right by Buck's house in Maurice. Actually, Buck lived in Carencro. I mean, these places, southern Louisiana. So he lived in Carencro. The studio was in Maurice, Louisiana, which is just outside of Lafayette. So first day, first rehearsal, we started playing the Zeppelin song, and he had at the time Buck had two guitar players. There's a guy named Olivier, and then he had a legendary Zydeco guy who called himself Little Buck. Buck Senegal was his name, and I was, he's also like, kind of a made man in the Zydeco world. Legendary guitar player, legendary character. So we start playing the song, and literally we don't even get halfway through the song, and Little Buck gets up, he goes, "Nope." He just goes, "Nope, nope." Nope. And he gets his guitar and he walks out the door. And that was the last time I saw him. So you can see that Buck had an open mind where many of his contemporaries, I don't think, learning and playing a Led Zeppelin song probably wouldn't have gone over great with Clifton Chenier either. But Stanley he was all about it, man. He just wanted to make cool records. And, we were lucky enough I won him a Grammy. That was one of Grammys are they're fun. The parties are great. I just won one. The almost won one. they're all it's always great. But I was so happy that I was able to get Buck as a Grammy. I mean, that was the one to me that was like, wow, that is, if nothing else. If I didn't do anything else in my career, I got Buckwheat a Grammy. That was a really, really, like, I was a lot of pride in that moment.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, one thing that always struck me with his records was the uh, his choice of covers that he would
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
Uh, Frequently songs that you would not expect to hear.
right.
That's what I always liked.
Yep, yep. He was, like I said, he had a really open mind. He was very inquisitive. He really wanted to understand stuff. And if he trusted you, he trusted you completely. Like clearly, like me and Ted pitching a Captain Beefheart song is like, he kind of looked at us like, you want me to do what? But he was game. He said, all right, let's do it. Let's figure it out. Let's see if we can make it sound like something. And I had to say, it wasn't like I was going to force it down his throat. If it wasn't going to work, I was perfectly happy to not do it either. Like it wasn't like we had to, or I wasn't going to make him do it. But I was really happy when that song worked out, because I think it's a great song and it did fit him. It's funny. It sounds simple, but it's really complex. But it worked. I think it worked perfectly for him and his band and his voice. So I was really that was very gratifying as well.